Hello, welcome to your Good Vibrations reading for the week of January 7th, 2018. So, as I've mentioned in multiple readings, we are in an 11 year now. So, this is the energy of the inspirational teacher. And so, I wanted to alert everybody here on that listens to my videos that I did have this calling to put out a special offer around this beginning of 2018. I'm calling it the 2018 Sacred Pathway Reading. And it will be a card reading built specifically for you, with me tapping into your higher self energy that I call your team, and sort of laying out what is that sacred pathway that you are entering into in this very important year. How is it that you're meant to be an inspirational teacher this year? And in the card reading, which will be about 15 to 20 minutes, delivered to you as a private video to your email inbox, I'll cover through, again, 3 cards, as well as a little numerology, what you're looking at this year. It's like we're going to do a bit of an attunement in that reading too. I'm feeling called to mix in a few things because we're kind of like great alchemists with this kind of master number year. So the blend of all this, I'll give sort of an attunement with your higher self energy kind of flowing through me to, in essence, energetically pull back these curtains and say, okay, here's where we're headed. And I'm offering this for a special price because I'm blending in a lot of things here at a price of $40, which is pretty inexpensive given how much I pack into a reading. So if you're interested in that, look down below in this YouTube description and you'll get the link to the page on my website where you can order that. And I do require that you send me your birth date information. That's how I'm going to work in the numerology for you for this year and what this year is all about for you. And taking a look at various aspects of the numerology involved, okay? So lots in that reading I wanted to mention from the start here. Scorpio 12 is our symbol for this week, and it reads, "A brilliant assembly of officials at an embassy ball." And this feels tied to this sacred pathway reading. I feel like this is a year, and especially early on in the year here, where we're kind of finding our way to what we really, the important tribe that we're meant to be a part of at this stage in our life. Now, we're always growing and expanding and kind of changing our focus, and the broader part of us supports us completely in whatever our free will decisions are. However, with this, this symbol makes me feel like everybody's waiting for you in your tribe, in this official kind of a tribe for you to arrive, that you are a part of a group here. If you're listening to this video, you are most definitely part of a group that is kind of awakening to this new way of being here on the earth. And we're seeing a lot of things crack open and behave in ways that we've never seen before. And so it sort of reveals these deeper layers. And that's what a Scorpio symbol like we have this week, Scorpio's all about that, is getting to this deeper level. And it's why I always really enjoy a reading week when we have a Scorpio symbol, because there's no surface anything about Scorpio. And this tribe, I keep wanting to say it that way because officials at an embassy ball sounds a little stuffy and not entirely achievable for all of us, and not that all of us want that kind of a feeling of belonging. But we are all official in our capacity here. And first and foremost, finding joy in your daily life and trying to be as present as you can in the circumstances of your life in order to kind of pre-pave the way for you moving forward for more joy, not less. That is the primary mission, if you want to use that word. But I do feel like there is something very special getting ignited within you this week. So, the reason I'm mentioning this Sacred Pathway reading as an offer for those who feel called to it is because I feel like this week's reading is kind of giving a teaser towards that. It's kind of, we're kind of pulling back one little part of the curtain to see this brilliant ball, if you will. It's like people are dressed up and they're ready to be and to be seen in the capacity that they are here to serve. There's a sense of service. And always with spiritual journeys, there is always a level of service involved to the planet, to humanity, to the animal kingdom. It varies for everybody. So that's why personal reading, if you're called to that, I can get in a little deeper on it. Okay. But let's talk about this week. So we have 3 cards for this, and I just sort of wanted to know more about, well, what is it about this sense of tribe or this official role that you have that's being opened up this year? Kind of a little bit first steps on that sacred pathway. Okay, so the first card up is from the Flower Therapy deck by Doreen Virtue. Ooh, this is the beautiful Open Your Heart. Red rose. One of the most beautiful flowers on the planet. And I'm going to read to you what it says here. Your potential for greater love rests in opening your heart. Blockages and wounds from your past will be healed, and you'll be met with the true passion you seek. Now it's interesting, when I was just saying that to you about one of the most beautiful flowers on the planet, I immediately had a sense of, yeah, but it's often around heartbreak. Like when somebody who loves you very much wants to, either say they're sorry or to get closer to you somehow. This is often the flower that is given. It's about deep romantic love. And I felt that pang of like, oh, but this flower is also about heartbreak. And I'm getting a sense of like tears. And so I do get a feeling of like deeper healing the more that you open up and literally allowing some of these old wounds down deep to be brought out into the light and to finally be put to rest is the way they're giving me that information. It does feel related to romantic connections of the past, and some may be current. But there's a feeling of woundedness where you haven't maybe wanted to move on in that aspect, haven't wanted to fully let go of something that you once had, even if it's in a current relationship that has somehow shifted. I just get this sense of wanting to be tied to something that used to be when it comes to romantic love. And certainly somebody who has left your life in some way. That too is coming up. And it does feel very deep and like you don't allow many people to see this part of you. And remember, my readings are about good vibrations, but my intent with it is what will help to raise your vibration this year. And it's in your ability. I'm trying to relate it here to a brilliant assembly of officials at an embassy ball. It's like the other reasons why you're on this planet at this time are standing, waiting for you to arrive. However, this heaviness feeling that I get, it's like when somebody is wearing a perfume, and particularly if it's a rose perfume, or an oil of some kind, and it can totally like overwhelm you. That's the feeling I get. It's very heavy, but it's like deep love that just goes heavy. It's almost like an anchor that holds you down. And meanwhile, these officials that you are a member of, this group, this tribe, if you will, that you're here to, help in service on this planet, is kind of waiting for the time to be right for that anchor to be cut free from you, and that you no longer have to drag it around with you. And that feels important too, that you realize that you can make that choice to let go of that. You don't have to hold on to anything that no longer serves you. And of any type of year, an 11 year is a time when this, you may have more instances of whatever this theme is that I'm talking about for you, of it feels like lost love, or being deeply wounded on the subject of romantic love. That more situations might come up where you're forced to kind of remember. And in that way, it's like, okay, I just can't live with this kind of sadness and weight. It's literally a denseness. It totally keeps you so tied down energetically on the love vibration. We extend many types of vibrations in our field, but love is its own one. And this just, it feels like it's almost pulled tight, and it just doesn't want to let go of something that no longer is in that form anymore, or no longer is as true anymore, that type of thing. So I do feel a denseness, and just the calling here. It's like when you think about an embassy ball, what I think of is there's somebody at the doorway announcing who has arrived, and they're just standing there waiting for you, but you're kind of lost in the past, is what I get. It really does feel like an anchor. Like every time you try to step forward, you keep getting pulled back. And so let's just, close your eyes for a minute with me here. And I just want to invoke this energy of the red rose for you. And please see it as full and vibrant, one that can never lose its color. So there's honor for all that has been, but allowing now that red rose, instead of being tightly closed, just allow it to open and flourish, knowing that deep within its petals you will always have remembrance of romantic love that has been, in whatever form it has been. And now the petals stretch out in order to welcome whatever is new and next. And so it is. Okay. All right, next up is from The Way of the Horse deck by Linda Kohanov. Really interesting. This is the attraction card. Attraction is the name of it. And as I always do with this deck, I'm going to read to you just the little beginning portion of what Linda writes here. The themes of this card are love's potential, relationships challenge, emotional resonance. A stunning gray stallion nuzzles his dark bay mare, deepening affection and understanding. The gift is that sometimes opposites attract, sometimes like attracts like. The harmony and dissonance of relationship is the music of life, and a path to realization. The challenge is separating the flesh and blood object of your affection from fantasy and projection is well worth the initial confusion or disappointment. And so I have my pendulum here, and I'm just asking, is the message here the gift? No. Is the message in the challenge? Yes. Separating the flesh and blood object of your affection from fantasy and projection is well worth the initial confusion or disappointment. So I feel like this card does often relate to love relationships, which is interesting because that was totally the subject of the first card. But I'm getting it in terms of our ability to attract to us what we're wanting in our life, and not just in terms of love. Now remember, this week's symbol, a brilliant assembly of officials at an embassy ball. I feel like it's the tribe, if you will. There's no better word for it that I'm coming up with. We are all here in a service capacity of some sort, in addition to finding our own joy on a daily basis. But this is like finding your way to your official capacity in this life at this time and in this 11 year of being an inspirational teacher. And yes, you are. And we're all waiting to see what that is from you. But this sacred pathway I feel like you're stepping onto has to do with really rethinking what it means to draw the things that you want into your life. And when it's interesting, when you look at this card, which one do you think is the female? Because Linda very purposely says here, a stunning gray stallion. The male is the white. And this is actually the way the yin and the yang work. The yin is the white energy, and the yang, have I got that screwed up? Yes, I do. The yang is the white, and the yin is the black energy. The yang being the masculine, and the yin being the feminine. Because the yin is like the deep void. It's the depths of receiving and being able to resonate that within the depths of who you are, and therefore define it yourself as you receive. And the white is always, reflecting out like the sun, which is masculine too. And so even as I was reading that description about the stunning gray stallion, this is something that catches me about this card every time I look at it. Because I always think, oh, that's the female. And so the sacred pathway that you're walking onto is really rethinking how you choose to attract what you want in your life. And might it be the very opposite of the way that you've been trying? So if you've been trying a certain way of living when it comes to money, what does the antithesis of that, or the converse of that? It's like going into reverse and back up a little. And what is going the other way? Because this energy that's coming in this year is highly amped up, and it's really causing us to look at old systems that just are no longer working. And it's because the paths have become so well worn that they're literally starting to wear out. And it's like there's no more tread left on the vehicle's tires when it goes on that path, because you're just like down to the bare bones of the road, and it's just ripping it all up. And so people are struggling to keep doing things the same way. This is part of your role as an inspirational teacher, is really thinking about the pathway to get to what you want. And when she mentions about the challenge, there's this real, particularly the word separating. It's like, I need to rethink this. And you will know those areas in your life because you keep running into, they're like a stumbling block. And this is a year to really get a hold of that and to just really do it like you've never done before, you know. And I am getting this sensation of looking at it in a reverse direction or taking a pathway towards what you want in a reverse direction. You know, people wanting a love relationship in their life that's meaningful. If they've kept trying to go through the circles of people that they know, and that just keeps backfiring over and over again, perhaps now it's time to go in the other direction and to say, I need to get into groups of people that I don't know. I need to go through venues, maybe it's online dating or something like that, or going to a completely different town at night to socialize, or going to events that include interaction among people in a totally different community. It's like whatever you've been doing, stop the train and turn the direction around. It's I'm experimenting with this with my diet and trying this keto approach where you eat fat to get rid of fat. Like, what? And, you know, like, how does that work? You know, and or if it's money or job or whatever, it's like it's putting on a different pair of glasses and seeing the exact opposite. That's what I feel this card is pointing out. So let's just do a little work here as I tap into, if you will close your eyes for just a minute. And I'm tapping into these beautiful horses, this gray stallion and his beautiful dark bay mare. These horses of attraction. And they invoke for you here the ability to clearly see the signs of which way is best for you to head so that you can be of greater service to this world, because you will feel happier in the having of things, people, experiences that you have not been able to master yet. And this can be your year for that. Even if you just pick one area of life, what does the reverse direction look like? Because the energy supports the creation of new pathways, not the ones that we have all been taught and know by memory. And so it is. The third card we have is the messages from your animal spirit guides. And you have the Wolverine. You're a lot tougher than you think. That's what it reads. You're a lot tougher than you think you are. Okay, remember, we have a Scorpio symbol. That means going deep emotionally. A brilliant assembly of officials at an embassy ball. This is in order for you to step up to this official role that you have in this 11 year, something really deep within your being that's ready to come forward this year. And everybody's waiting for you. You have an official role. That's the best way that I can look at this symbol. There's a sense of you, what I'm seeing is kind of like landslide activity. And I'm just getting a sense of like you caving all the time. You know, maybe wanting to give in to other people, or their wants or needs come first, or you just feeling like, you know, you have to give to other people perhaps. But there's a sense of you really bypassing your own needs, because now I'm seeing like a speedboat, like there's people on the side that are having a party and they're waiting for you, and woo, and you're just I got no time for fun. I got to keep going. And it's a sense of toughness, like I got to keep barreling on through without the softness that can be the fun to offset that. So it's the meaning of the card here. It's kind of intertwined for you. As I'm saying that, there's a softness that is felt, and yet there's a new type of toughness that is being called forward for you or being encouraged for you, where you start to be tough about your boundaries and about saying, you know, no, even on fun stuff. So you finding the time to do things that you enjoy, but perhaps they are things that you do with a certain group of people that you're not currently been able to. Or maybe it's more time by yourself and in your own self discovery space. Or maybe it's more time with family. You have to feel into that. Like, where do you feel like you just give it all? You just like barrel on through and just, kind of almost steamroller in your approach as giving. Because it's a tricky message for you, because it's like tougher, but it's softer because it's so giving and it's so loving. But then where are you sacrificing? Because that's where you need to move to being softer in here for yourself and your sense of enjoyment versus what is given out here. Okay? So it's like you need to get tougher in out here versus being really soft and squishy and okay, I'll go do that or I'll go do that. And meanwhile, you're like, oh, I wish I could get together with my friends. There's the ladies' night every other week at the pub or whatever. Like I really wish I could go to this cribbage group that meets, but I just, I have to do this over here. There's a real sense I get with this Wolverine of you becoming tough for yourself on the outside so that you can be more soft on the inside. All of the cards are speaking to an interplay of energies. And this is what I feel our 11 year is largely about when it comes to being an inspirational teacher. We're finding a new way at looking at the balance of what formerly were opposites, and we're almost flipping them. And in that way, we're redefining them and becoming inspirational just for ourselves. That's really the only one we have to be inspirational for, is re-looking at a lot of these things that we just have been doing and doing and doing, and it's almost like the energy is kind of coming to a halt now, and we're starting to go in the opposite direction. And so for sure, I could imagine if you're starting to get tougher boundaries on the outside and saying, I can't, I need to do this for me to make me happy. And this is not necessarily you going into some meditation chamber and not coming out for 5 days. This can be interactions with different groups of people. It's things that people or activities or time alone, time for reflection, that you haven't been tough for on behalf of yourself. You've been soft on behalf of everybody else, and have the toughness within, like, nope, nope, you can't. I'm sorry, nope, that's not possible because you got to get home and you got to get dinner on the table by this time. Or, nope, because you can't take that earned time from work because you need to have it available for, your child's vacation or da 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 da. Honestly, with an 11-year, everything is up for grabs. We are rethinking so many things that we've always been told this is the proper way to do this. And we're going to be given much more supportive opportunities to really reinvent or invent a completely new way at doing something. So, this is why I feel like it's important. It's an important switch of becoming soft and so giving on the inside. And you know my definition of the word selfish. Doesn't that immediately start coming up when we think about how can I give to me? It's about self fishing. Like you teach a man to fish or you give him all the fish, which is the better option long term. And teaching yourself to fish for your own happiness, that's self fishing. Okay, that's the way that I look at it. And so it doesn't mean that you cut everybody else out, but there's like more of you to give when you replenish, when you really pay attention to what keeps me feeling soft on the inside. Is it that enjoyment time with my coffee and a candle and my journal first thing in the morning? Is it starting a yoga practice with my beloved? You know, um, so becoming soft here and thinking about becoming the Wolverine on the outside, and not that you have to bark at people or scratch their eyes out. What I mean is, it's just you're not as willing to like just lay down and let everybody else's desires rule the day for you. And really, that ends up kind of running your energy. And it can quickly deplete you because people will keep taking and taking. Energy works on, the path of least resistance. So there are energy patterns out there that come off from some people that are actually energy suckers. And I know you know who those people are. It's just a pattern that they continue because they can. If there's a source for it, they'll keep feeding on that energy because it's just a low resistance kind of a source for them. But think of the win-win for both of you if that energy source is blocked and you become the Wolverine and saying, no, I can't, I'm not doing you any favors by continuing to just do everything that you want and need when you want and need it. And so, because I love you, I need to pay attention to my own needs. And so that person no longer has a feeding source and they have to self fish. They're not feeding off from you anymore. And that's a win win for both of you. So let's just do a quick little invocation here. If you'll shut your eyes with me for just a moment, I'm calling forth the Wolverine for you. And the Wolverine here says yes. The tough skin is meant for the outside. The inner is the area of softness, of life-giving source for oneself, because no one else can rule that land, much like the embassy ball symbol that we have. And so think about this. The tough outer skin, which still is soft and pliable, it is not ironclad. It still has softness. But when it is radiating from beneath the derma level of the skin, think how much more glowing you will be and supportive you will be to everyone around you. There we are, everybody. Little invocations this week. I really like that. Maybe I'll do that now and again coming up. And again, if you want to go deeper into your sacred pathway reading for this year, just visit my website at the link down below. Thank you for being with me this week. It feels like a really important first step for us. Enjoy your week.